Hey Squishies, thanks for 10K. Life has been interesting for a while. I'd be happy to get into that, but I think it's better saved for a later video because today I need to start talking about the past. For those of you who are aware of this series on my YouTube channel or this playlist I also have listed here, you would know that in the past, back in 2020 through 2021, I was once known as a YouTuber called Kai Weiss or Prince Kai. Some of you are longtime supporters and fans. Some of you I have met since the deletion of my old channel. Since the creation of this channel, I have never hid from that fact, nor have I ever ran from it. I've always openly discussed my past and even reconciled with the mistakes that I have made within that same past. I even have a Wikitubia page. I don't like it personally. There's a lot of misinformation in it, and a lot of it is written by people who are very, very biased against me. And honestly, I wish it never existed at all, but whatever, that's how the cookie crumbles. I've since just dealt with it and moved on. It has been 3, coming up 4 years since I have identified as Kai Weiss. And while I understand that when you're a public figure for this long, little bits and pieces of your past are always going to follow you, and I'm okay with that. I know that there are a lot of people with a lot of big and even small channels who do not want me to sit where I am right now or have the level of success I do. Those who view every single video on this channel are going to see little glimpses of that past. But a big part of this video is moving on. But there's just one person in my past who just can't seem, to this day, stop bringing me up over a drama that even I have been criticized for talking about 3 years later, despite never doing that. This person even going as far as to planning to talk about the drama again, to where I believe, keyword believe, that they will victimize themselves again and revise what happened because they know that those who were involved have no vested interest in making commentary videos anymore, especially on that topic, or even clarifying what happened, or they went on to go and get into their own scandals, or just leave the internet and their platforms as a whole. This video is going to be about Hopeless Peaches, or that Rebel Rosie, whatever they want to call themselves. I hope to make this video pretty short and sweet, so let's hope I keep it a little over 20 minutes. I promise that after this video, I will create normal content. I've just been pretty caught up in having a life and doing things personally that YouTube has not really been a priority for me. And if this supposed video comes out going over this 3-year-old drama again, I want to have something out there to prevent Peach's weird, overprotective fans from bothering me, or pretty much anyone else involved from being bothered either. Maybe 3 years ago, this would have made a bit of sense to talk about and go over, but now it just seems really weird. I'm at such a different point in my life, and I've experienced so much, gaining and losing a lot since the Hopeless Peaches drama, that holding this shit over my head feels like blatant manipulation and guilt tripping at this point. I'm not the person who I was back in 2020, and I'm getting really sick of you, Peaches, treating me like I'm still that person, or you and other content creators like Bored Oranges and Harley TBS using the past when it's convenient for you when you're faced with actual criticism towards your actions, as if you're the most moral person in the world, or like you're so perfect when you're very far from that. But before I even get into talking about you and your drama as a whole, let's go over the tweet that actually pushed me into making this video. Before that, I want to let it be known, I'm not big on Twitter. I don't have thousands of followers like some of my enemies or detractors do, and I've ceased advertising my Twitter anywhere else simply due to the fact that I just like using it to be cute and post selfies and my general thoughts on internet stuff. While I appreciate having fans and people that go out of their way to make me fan art and things of that nature, I don't really need any of that. I'm not a fan of creating parasocial relationships, and I'm certainly not a fan of having so many eyes on me. I've come to realize in my time of being a content creator that I don't like having so much attention, especially on Twitter, because while it's easy to be treated like a person when you're a smaller creator, when you have lots of followers, people start to forget you're an actual person in my experience. In a lot of good ways and also a lot of bad ways. I want to be able to say things and do stuff without thinking about whether or not it will be damaging for my platform and reputation. Because after being Kai Weiss for quite some time, I found myself caring too much about what people think of me, and when you're living a personal life outside of YouTube, that mentality really screws you over. And in my content back then, and even now, it felt like I was walking on eggshells because there's this like weird innate expectation to be on the right side of history, or everything you say has to be accustomed to everyone's sensibilities. And I don't think that's a healthy or fair way to live at all, because now you're being delegated to the needs and entitlement of others rather than your own wants. Now your opinions have to align with the status quo, or you're open to being hated on and harassed by people who don't really know you. So yeah, I don't have much of a voice compared to Peaches, but I hope my level of influence doesn't stop you from looking at the situation objectively. Anyways, let's go over this tweet and some other things I'd like to touch on before getting into the rest of this video. Hopeless Peaches has been on this weird vendetta against pretty much anyone who ever said something, made a video, or even participated in the Hopeless Peaches drama that hasn't completely fallen to their knees and extended graces to them, which I'm assuming comes from the fact that Spoctor returned to YouTube, which isn't really a return, it's just a video he made back then that he later publicized, and the internet is doing what the internet does best, and hating on him in his comment section. I'm not entirely too versed on the Spoctor drama, but from my understanding, Spoctor is under fire for having CP of an ex on a flash drive that he owned back when he was 18, that he later destroyed. He later allegedly tried to cover it up with YouTubers like Fagos and Junkie, both of whom have gone through their own scandals, both I've interacted with, and even collaborated with one in the past. Completely oblivious to this, by the way. I had no idea that all this shit was going on before I met these people. A smaller part of this entire drama is a call that he had with Lyo Convoy in Hopeless Peaches, which what seems to be a pattern now is Peaches holding him accountable for the hand he had in the Hopeless Peaches drama. Spoctor apparently didn't take the call very seriously, and honestly, I wouldn't either. He was under fire for mic spamming and just being a general goof in the call. People got mad at him for it and eventually got over it, even more so after he deleted his Twitter and YouTube channel. I could go on and on about all of my personal problems with Spoctor and how I felt he should have dealt with this situation, but very obviously it doesn't seem like he's in a very good headspace, and I can only hope that he makes amends with the past and just doesn't act out like that. I used to talk a lot with the guy in the past. He was very nice to me, the best he could have been, and I just hope he gets better and gets help. Since his return, he hasn't really said anything aside from that video, but in general, Hopeless Peaches fashion, she has a take about it, since one of the videos that still remain on his channel is one about her. After ranting about him on her Twitter profile, she eventually went private to start talking about other creators, some of which being me, as well as my ex-partner, Omnia. I later chimed in with my own tweet thread because I was simply annoyed I'm being brought up again in regards to this drama, and after giving my take, I was promptly blocked. Don't you love it when people have so much to say about you, and if you dare mention them, it's a problem, but the moment they talk about you and you respond, you're suddenly the bad guy? He just had this nonsense to say after blocking me. Seems my biggest fan is still itching to talk about me again. I wonder if it'll come with comparing a rape victim to a rapist again over internet drama. It's crazy how horribly misrepresented what I said in the past is being treated here, but the fact I'm being misrepresented isn't really even the problem. My real problem is you having the audacity to tell me that I'm your biggest fan, despite whenever I had anything to say about anything in regards to my personal court case, you were the first to talk to your audience about it like you were in the courtroom with me and Omnia. I'm your biggest fan, Hopeless Peaches? Let me remind you of the many times you interacted with me and my content and I never even asked you to. And since you're so mad about this analogy tweet years later, let me just show it to y'all. I'm tired of this being used against me and I'm taking the power back now. I went over this tweet in a response in my stream and you can tell how annoyed I am regarding it.
And it's not correlating those two things. I'm not correlating these things. I'm not making accusations. These are not accusations, bro. I'm not making an accusation. I am simply saying you are treating the victim like they are responsible for what is happening to them. That is the point that's being made here.
The tweet right underneath it, the part where he says this is like telling a victim they had it coming, could be in reference to the people defending Peaches.
What do you mean could be, bro? That's exactly what the fuck I'm saying. Oh my god. How do you intentionally misunderstand me? You are intentionally doing, oh, it could mean that you know what it means. You know exactly what the fucking tweet means. You're just creating outrage for the sake of outrage because you need a fucking video. Oh my god.
Incredibly problematic already that you would take other people critiquing you.
I don't give a fuck about what you think is problematic, Spivey. I don't care.
or disagreeing with you in a petty drama situation and compare that to a
Notice how my feelings about how Hopeless Peaches treated me and my qualms with Hopeless Peaches is now petty drama. But if we ever say that Hopeless Peaches does things for petty reasons, we're being fucked up about it. But when it's my feelings, they're easily dismissed. Oh, it's just a petty drama. What if it's not a petty drama to me, Spivey? What if it's significant to me? What if you clearly see that I'm having a fucking breakdown on Twitter? Obviously, it's something a little bit more than just a petty drama to me. Just as you can look at it for Hopeless Peaches, you can't do that for anybody else in the situation? Idiot.
horrific act against another person. But even then, this part where you say, maybe check the perpetrator instead, Kai, sweaty, that is...
Maybe just check Peaches instead, dumb fuck. Oh my god, stop trying to turn it into something that it very obviously isn't. You know that that's not what I'm trying to do. You know I'm not trying to accuse Peaches of being a rapist. I'm not trying to do anything to make Peaches look bad in regards to rape, bro. Are you fucking kidding me, Spivey? That's disgusting. I hate every single one of you niggas who does that shit. Every single one of you niggas who makes that fucked up comparison and tries to make it seem like I'm doing something worse than what I'm actually doing. Fuck you. On God.
You comparing Peaches to a perpetrator of these horrible acts. Don't try to gaslight me and everyone else saying...
I'm not gaslighting shit. You're gaslighting me, telling me that I'm making a comparison that I'm not making. Like I'm saying something disgusting and I'm not. I'm literally saying you are victim blaming me over some shit that Peaches is doing. Check her and stop checking me. And it's crazy that I have to say that even now.
That it isn't. Peaches is the perpetrator in this analogy. An analogy is used to make a comparison. In your tweet, you say, this is like, which is a comparative statement. You compared this to, and he defended this tweet so much on Twitter.
Because you are, look at all of these responses. Like, you didn't even read, the fact that you people need threads to explain I meant something else other than what I actually said shows maybe you're reaching for something that isn't there. Yes, that is true. That is exactly what you're doing, Spivey. Holy shit, the way this tweet has been misconstrued. I was told I had it coming to all the hate that I was receiving. That is the same logic assholes tell rape victims when they come out about their stories. I compare logic and y'all think I'm comparing this to actual rape. Cause I'm not! Holy fuck, I hate you niggas, bro. I really fucking hate y'all. I will never ever get over how dirty y'all fuckers did me in regards to this. This is not a big deal. You knew what I meant. And then you spread it to 100,000 fucking people that this was something that I was saying. Fuck you. Oh my god, that shit actually... I need a break. I need to take 5. Give me a minute. Because I'm getting worked out. It's really, 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 really fucked up how y'all did me throughout everything that I've been through, whether it be my case, whether it be the fucking copyright shit. Y'all did me so fucking dirty throughout every single one of those dramas and did nothing but give courtesy to everybody who was against me without even taking the opportunity to look at my side for about anything. Even when it comes to Peaches. Like, you sit here, and one of the things that I thought about while I was taking my break is the fact that fucking Spivey brings up, oh, Kai Weiss, you're so emotional. You're this, that, and that. Like, so now it's a problem that I'm emotional. It's a problem that I'm emotional on my Twitter profile because I'm being berated, I'm being harassed, and I'm being misconstrued almost daily by people who are obviously out here to make sure that I'm deplatformed or just troll or detract to the things that I'm actually trying to say. To be misunderstood at the level that I've been on YouTube for the amount of times that I have been is fucking crazy. And you sat here in this video and invalidated all of that. And that is why I don't fucking like you, Spivey, and I never will. Now watching this video, I'm giving you the opportunity. I'm watching it here because one of the things that Spivey had a problem with when I watched, when I called them back in May of 2022, was they asked me, "Did you even watch our video on you?" This is the reason why I didn't watch it, because every time I watch these stupid ass videos, it's always y'all saying some stupid bullshit about me, and then everyone just going along with it, and I have to deal with the aftermath of that from this very day. To this very day, I have to do that. But, and you know what's so funny? Hopeless Peaches said in the past, oh, I really hate 2020 Peaches. I hope we also hate 2021 and 2022 Peaches. But everybody is holding 2023 Kai Weiss to 2021 in 2020 Kai Weiss. Everyone is allowed to move on, but people I don't like. Because if they move on, it's a problem. Fuck everybody in this dumbass community. And look here, I said I'm logging off before I have a fucking episode. This is insane. Why did you put this here? But you're talking about my actions toward Hopeless Peach's mental health? Let's talk about yours, Spy V, but you got away with this. And you likely will never face any repercussions for this video whatsoever because I'm not going to make a video on it. I'm not going to make a response to it. I'm not going to do anything in regards to this video. I'm just going to talk about it on my stream, and you will be able to have people come to your channel and watch this video and still believe the same bullshit about me. You will still have the opportunity to do. No one will hold you accountable for anything that you said here. And that's something that I've had to come to accept in my time of coming back to YouTube and uploading again. There are so many people who made such fucked up bad faith videos about me that I just have to deal with. But you're well aware it isn't my intention, and that's not what I'm saying. That's why the second tweet exists, for people like you. Hilarious how y'all go so quick to insult at the slightest notion you might be wrong. Please don't project, look inward. But it's only my reply. You never see the person who I'm replying to. Ale Revengeance, another person who's been a thorn in my side for quite some time. You all are so annoying. I said this because Camilla made a similar analogy. Peaches took it as comparing her actions to murder, which I don't think that's true. I don't think comparing her actions to murder it doesn't make any sense. Like, I don't even think it's bad. If that's something that they do, is the analogy extreme? Yes. But does it get a point across? Yes. What you should be focused on is the fucking point. But no, let's talk about his wording because we can't actually tell him that he's wrong. Oh my god. I made the second tweet because I'm not trying to catch flack for making an analogy. You don't blame a victim for the accuser's actions. That's all I was saying. But instead of focusing on that, you bad faith act and say that, oh, actually, Kai was doing this other thing. Fuck you, Spy V.
Crying about people misinterpreting his words when a lot of people were just trying to say, hey man, that's kind of a messed up thing.
You can't say it's a messed up. If you want to say it's an extreme analogy, then just say that. It is people misconstruing my words because you're not paying attention to the point. Pay attention to the fucking point. Like, the wording of the point isn't the point of the fucking tweet, bro. And plenty of people understood that at the time. That's why I felt like I was having a fucking episode, because you niggas intentionally pay attention to the wrong shit and you know you're doing that.
Thing you said, and this is another example of Kai's defensiveness getting him into deeper shit. If all he's going to do is insult people who disagree with him and claim that they're just stretching or they just want to jump down his throat from no—
Because that's exactly what's happening. It's not a claim, Spy V. It's crazy how much you invalidate people's experiences in this exact video, but you want to be this beacon of responsibility for mental health. You're an idiot, Spy V, and I'm glad you're not making videos anymore, because if they're as irresponsible as this one, I'm surprised no one's called you out for it.
Reason. He only succeeds in alienating people who were initially willing to have that conversation and to try and—
What if I don't want to have that conversation, Spy V? Why do I always have to act with other people in mind? I don't want to do that. What if I don't want to talk to you? What if I don't want to do that? What about my feelings? What if I don't want to talk to you about, oh, how you felt about my tweet? What if I don't give a shit? What if I don't care? Then what? Oh my god, dude. What if I don't give a fuck about what you think? Then what, Spy V? Then what do we do at this point? Idiot.
Civilly explain their issues with—
I don't care if you want to civilly explain to me shit. I didn't ask for your 2 cents. I didn't ask for you to talk to me. I don't want you to. Because clearly I understood what I meant. My audience understood what I meant. I don't care if some random on the internet is curious about what I meant, Spy V, or is trying to explain to me. I don't care if they're hurt. That's their problem, not mine. Oh my god.
He said and what he did, and it leaves such a bitter taste in people's mouths. It will not make them want to—
I don't give a fuck if it's left a bitter taste in other people. Why should I care? I don't care. I know what I meant. My audience knew what I meant. Why does it matter if it left a bitter taste in other people's mouths? Get the fuck off my Twitter profile and stop talking to me. Like, what? Tell these niggas to leave me the fuck alone then. What? What does it matter? I don't care, bro.
Kai and have that civil conversation with him in the future.
Me and Spivey had a call. We didn't work out anything, really. We just had a call. There was nothing that was worked out. We didn't work out anything. What happened was I called them both. Skritus got pissed at me, and then Spivey went on to get pissed at me and bring up Peaches. We didn't work anything out. I actually walked out of the conversation and said, this isn't productive, so I'm leaving. And I left. That's what happened. I think I might still have the call recorded, but I don't remember if I do or not. If I do, it's archived somewhere. If it's not, it's not. But I just left the call because it wasn't productive. I still think this video is shit. I still think their critiques of me are shit. And I started seeing myself get worked up while I was in the call with Spivey and Skritus, which is one of the reasons why I left. Because I'm not sitting here trying to yell at two fucking idiots in my own bedroom all fucking day. I'm not trying to do that shit.
Will be much more likely to respond to his actions with more hostility, because that is what they were met with from Kai when they tried the civil route.
Why do I need to be nice to you? I don't need to be civil with people who are blatantly misunderstanding me. Why do you hold me to that standard? I'm tired of that. Why do I have to be nice to people who are obviously not nice to me? Who are obviously not treating me with respect? Why do you think you're entitled to my respect? What makes you think that? You're an idiot, Spivey.
To this day, he has not apologized for this, and he defended this.
This is what I'm talking about. Why? Why do I have to do that? I'm not entitled to apologize for shit. I don't have to apologize to you for anything. You're not entitled to my apology. I don't owe you niggas anything. Just as you don't owe anybody anything on your platform, or Peaches doesn't owe anybody anything on her platform, or anybody on this platform. I don't owe anyone shit. So what makes you think, oh, he still hasn't apologized? Because I don't fucking have to. Eat my dick, bro.
Tweet very recently, a mutual of mine and Peaches tweeted this at him, and he responded by laughing that people were still upset about it.
Because I don't care. Why should I? It's like y'all want me to care about something that I very obviously don't have to do that shit, bro. I don't have to care about your problems with this tweet. I don't give a shit. Oh my god, bro. I don't care.
When they pointed out how traumatic making this comparison could be, he says,
traumatic to who? Whose trauma? Whose trauma? Whose? I'm not talking to anybody personally in regards to their trauma, Spivey. I'm talking about my own experience. Who else would it be traumatic to but me? Oh my god.
oh, I didn't realize I could give trauma to strangers on the internet. Oh yeah, Kai,
because I can't. I literally can't, Spivey. You cannot sit here and try and claim that I give trauma to fucking people, strangers that I don't even know. How does that work, Spivey? That makes no fucking sense. How does a literal stranger who's a YouTuber give somebody trauma because you're reading a tweet, bitch? Is that your logic? Is that your fucking logic, Spivey? That because somebody read a tweet, they have trauma? Oh my god. You niggas are so fucking stupid. You're so dumb. You're so dumb. No, nothing in that head of yours. None. Smooth-brained. How can somebody on the internet give you trauma? Bro, close the lid. Do y'all not follow Tyler, the Creator? How is cyberbullying real, motherfucker? Just close the computer. What the fuck? Let me hear how she possibly justifies this.
Victim of CSA to that of a can't possibly be traumatizing or deeply upsetting.
Oh my fucking god, what does this have to do with her fucking grooming? It has nothing to do with her grooming. Nothing. The statement had zero to do with her grooming. If you're going to conflate both of those fucking statements together, that is your problem. That is not my problem. Y'all niggas would do terrible in Debate Club. Holy shit.
Have the audacity to wonder why people are skeptical when you say that you are a huge defender of mental health. I have been trying to be—
You're not a defender of mental health yourself, bro! You have completely ignored the exact person you're criticizing's mental health themselves. Oh, he's just emotional. Eat a fucking dick, Spivey. You are no better.
nice so far, but my guy, what in the actual fuck is all this? I don't know how twisted you have to have it in your head to the point that you convinced yourself that this was an okay thing to say, then defend it so strongly in being
Because I know my truth, dumb bitch. You are so dumbfounded that there isn't some stupid dumbass who is pussy enough to listen to the shit that you have to say about them and say, oh wait, I retract my statement. Because I'm not a bitch, Spivey. Because I'm not a fucking wimp and I stand on business. That is why I defended what I had to say, because I knew what the fuck I meant. And I'm not going to let some dumbass random internet strangers tell me what I meant for me. What? Idiot.
Dismissive when people are still upset over it, saying you can't believe people are still on it. Yes, we are still on it. You did a horrible thing.
I didn't do a horrible thing. You just think I did a horrible thing. I could give a fuck about what you feel, Spivey. Or anybody who is upset about that, what they feel. I do not care. I do not care. It does not matter to me. You niggas do not pay my bills. You do not put food on my table or anything like that. Why the fuck should I give a shit? I really hope that you get in a situation yourself, Spivey, where people hold you to that same standard that they tried holding me and see how you react. But you're too bitch-made that instead of standing on your own opinions like you should be doing, you're gonna be like, oh, I'm sorry, everyone. Because that's what you art-CC niggas do. Because you have no fucking backbone and can't stand on what you actually believe in. You just go with what everybody else on Twitter is saying. Because if everybody else on Twitter was saying otherwise, y'all would be on different business.
And you have dug your heels in defending it. No shit that people are still going to be mad about it.
I don't care.
I'm going to move on from the stuff with Peaches now. I think I've made my important points clear. So now we're going to move on to the main showdown as of recent that we all know and love, and show how Kai has carried on his worst behaviors into this situation.
I don't know this woman. I've never met this woman. I have no personal relationship with this woman, but we're talking about Kai's best behaviors. Bitch, you do not even fucking know me beyond the internet. The moment that you close your computer, I do not exist. Get a grip.
Yeah, as you can see, I was pissed. I don't owe anyone on YouTube anything. I don't owe you my calm demeanor, I don't owe you my apology, and I don't owe you my time and energy. And I find it crazy how both you and Spivey's seem to think that you have the authority to tone police anyone on how they act on their own profile. Y'all used to come on my ass about hostility all the time, and one scroll through Peach's Twitter profile, you find that same amount of hostility. You say that I'm itching to talk about you again? For one, I'm not itching to do anything, I just did it. And two, you're the one who started talking about me out of nowhere. I didn't ask you to start bringing me up. You just did it on your own. And now I'm your fan for responding to you talking about me. But if this tweet alone isn't crazy contradictory to you, let's go over a few examples. During my feud with Bored Oranges, despite claiming back in July of this year that you will no longer be talking about me or Omnia, you for some reason had to put in your 2 cents into a drama that you weren't even a part of, saying this. Didn't think I'd wake up to a changed NB having a fight with a kid. Time to go back to sleep. Was this necessary coming from Hopeless Peaches at all? No. It's funny, considering the fact that I spent my entire video on Bored Oranges talking about how it's stupid as hell to claim that someone hasn't changed based on their actions online. Especially if you don't know them. Also, Peaches, Oranges is 18. You are not exempt from arguing with minors online. Not only that, the person that you claim is a kid is quite literally a legal adult. So before Hopeless Peaches claims that she meant kid as in Oranges being younger than me, I never want to see Peaches argue with someone that isn't 3 years her junior again, since I've suddenly not changed because I got into one argument with some YouTuber you follow and made a pretty successful video talking about my side. Again, never asked for Peaches' 2 cents. But my biggest fan remains interacting with any and all Zay content. And since you put changed NB in quotes as if that hasn't happened, did you forget when you took to Twitter to tell everyone that you were watching Valen's video about me? We all know that you did this to signal boost it, but what's significant is what you had to say. The fact that you even watched a video on me alone is hilariously hypocritical enough, but Hopeless Peaches is my biggest fan, so. Watching a 2-hour video right now about the history of Kai, watching because it's from the perspective of a once fan. Mind you, this once fan doesn't like you either. I know it's weird, but when I'm not in a deeply depressive episode and I see vids like this, it's good to remind myself of the mistakes I've made as a creator. It keeps me kind of grounded in a way, and helps me see the difference between myself now and myself then. It can help me see what I've improved on and what I still need to. I can't all the time. Sometime when your head hates you, you don't want more reason to, LMFAO. But yeah, so far this video has been quite interesting. Me and my homies hate 2018 Peaches and 2020 Peaches. One day, I hope me and the homies can look back and hate 2021 and 2022 Peaches too. LMFAO. Notice how Peaches can say that she hates past versions of herself and acknowledge the change that she made, so much so to the point that she also wants to hold the same standard for herself for 2021 and 2022. When it's Peaches, she has absolutely no issue with allowing herself growth, but if it's me or anyone else she doesn't like, actually they haven't changed at all. Which is insane because the exact thing that Omnia and I held Peaches accountable for in the past was not petty drama or her not wanting to be our friend. It's her being two-faced and invalidating our feelings while also claiming she knew us personally, which to this day she doesn't and still acts like she does. But since everyone seems to forget why we were mad, here's the clip.
Not only that, but this isn't the first time I've told you not to lie about me to people, Peaches. During the Toby drama, you thought it was fun to tell people in the comment section of Nani's video that both sides were bad and they needed to apologize properly. For one, Peaches, you are not the end-all, be-all of what warrants an apology. And when you made that comment, we had not talked. But I can let your initial comment slide, because maybe it was a spur-of-the-moment thing. But your replies are what I don't like. You responded to a person under your comment and had this to say. I just said that I have experienced both sides. I know them all personally. And I know they are still being petty by talking to them. That's funny, Peaches, because we literally stopped talking the same day after you had your falling out with Omnia, which was way before this comment, and our conversation did not end on a bad note. That was the same day you unfollowed me out of nowhere, and I didn't figure out what happened until Omnia told me about the things you said to her, and I saw firsthand how much you hurt her. That's where I decided I should detach myself from you too. Also, nowhere in our DMs on Discord or Twitter was I ever rude, petty, or mean to you. I don't know if this is you projecting your feelings toward Omnia on me, but either way, I don't appreciate it. I also don't appreciate you making the claim that you know me and Omnia personally, and our apologies have not been genuine. You don't know me personally, Peaches. You do not know Omnia personally. You especially don't know us well enough to confidently say our apologies have been genuine. It's creepy as hell that you even thought we were close enough for you to say something like this. I don't even know your real name, and I have never even talked with you on the phone. We were acquaintances that talked on and off and supported each other's content. I don't know what it is with you or anyone else on the internet who thinks that friendships are created through a few DM conversations. That is not what makes someone a friend. Just because I am friendly with you does not mean I am friends with you. Friendships take time to develop, and in real life do not work the same way they do on the internet. You don't just have a nice conversation with someone and slap a label on your relationship. If I asked you what my favorite movie was, you would not be able to answer that question. Why? Because you don't know me personally, Peaches. You don't go out for drinks with your therapist because you just talked about yourself with them. Here's a tip for the future that I genuinely hope you take too. Oversharing is not how you create friendship. You need to establish boundaries and build trust with the people you associate with. Your definition of what makes someone a friend is the exact thing that keeps people from making friends. I later called Peaches out for this comment, saying this: "You do not know me personally. I barely know you. Don't lie to everyone like this." Peaches responds, saying this: "If we have spoken multiple times in private and chatted over multiple topics, yes, I know you personally." Before I continue, notice how she defines what knowing me personally is. Also, Peaches, that's not what knowing someone personally means. And that exact definition is what will cause you to have trouble making friends in the future. Did I say we were joined at the hip? No. Stop picking and choosing what words mean. But didn't you just pick and choose what knowing me personally meant? Okay, this private conversation isn't a private conversation. Personally getting to know somebody isn't personally getting to know somebody. Please stop. It's upsetting. I find it so funny you put that in quotes despite me not ever saying that at all. I typed, 3 sentences, Peaches. This literally shows how delusional and manipulative you are. What's upsetting is how quickly you victimize yourself and create a narrative about me after simply being told to not spread falsehoods regarding our relationship. Are you serious, Peaches?
And here's Omnia saying that the reason why they were mad at you was not because you didn't want to be their friend. It's because you claimed that they leaked all of Toby's private info, which never happened, as well as changing your stance on them releasing their DMs with Toby in order to prove that she was lying about the content. Because to you, apparently, DMs shouldn't be leaked under any circumstance.
Sorry that your personality makes nobody like you.
Anyways, then Peaches goes on to lick Nani's boots, saying, quote, "Nani, can we be friends now? We friends now, uwu. Nani is too sweet in her videos. Ah! Nani, best furry president."
Editing Omnia here. I am here to inform you that a little piece of me died after reading that. F in the chat.
As if she didn't side with Kai and I days before. But that wasn't even the worst of it. Peaches went on to comment under Nani's video stating, quote, "From experiencing sides, both are bad, both need to apologize properly. I'm really sick of the drama and everyone in it." Which, if you understood the context of the drama, you would know that I already did apologize for the parts I played 2 days earlier on September 28th, and I decided to stop speaking publicly about the whole drama on October 1st. But you know who didn't stop subtweeting or talking about it? Peaches. She would keep going on and on about how harsh and Nani's videos weren't biased, how Kai and my behavior was underhanded, how disappointed in the internet she was because of the drama, and even on the days she would say, "I'm done following it," she would be right back to her bullshit, still subtweeting about it, still ruminating over how disappointing and meaningless it all was. But despite it all being quote-unquote upsetting and disappointing, she had considered making a retrospective video on it. It's almost like she thought it was stupid enough to make a video on, which makes no sense. This is something I had a huge problem with throughout the whole Toby drama. Like, if it was so stupid to everyone, why did they make videos or comment on it continuously? But that's a tangent. Anyways, aside from the chaos ensuing on Peach's Twitter account, she was also conversing with someone under Nani's comment section. By the way, apologies for this screenshot being crusty. Peaches has since deleted all of these comments, so quality is kinda sparse. The person she was conversing with, named AJ Gore, commented under her stating, "That's the laziest argument to make, especially if you just watch this video and are not the actual people involved. Omnia and Kai have apologized for being immature to Toby, but Toby hasn't apologized for shit. Omnia and Kai have already done their part. It's time for Toby to apologize." Peaches responded with, I just said that I have experienced both sides. I know them all personally, and I know they're all still being petty by talking to them, which, if you guys have been following this at all, you know that that's a lie too. We spoke on and off for a month. We disagreed on how I handled the Toby situation, and our relationship ended. Peaches is using the fact that we spoke in DMs for a month to leverage her argument that both sides are bad against me, which is not acceptable. AJ Gore says, "I don't know what you mean by both sides, but as I said, Omnia and Kai apologized for being petty. Toby deflected and dismissed things. It's Toby's turn to apologize for lying, gaslighting, not taking criticism, and twisting words." Peaches said, "Both sides, Omnia/Kai and Toby. I know them personally, as I said. That's why I can say with confidence, no apology has been genuine." That statement, again, was false and quite frankly, disgusting. Just because we talked in DMs doesn't mean that she had the right to speak for me and Kai about whether or not our apologies were genuine. Just because we talked in DMs for a month doesn't mean she knows me personally enough to know that that statement is false. Peaches goes on to say, "I know Toby isn't nice. I know she's bad. She's hurt me personally, but she never hurt Omnia and Kai, especially to the point where they leaked all her private info. Trust me, behind the scenes is worse than what's public." Again, I can't possibly understand knowing someone enough to the point where I know whether or not they're hurt by an action. Like, imagine claiming to know someone enough that you know exactly how hurt they are by someone lying about you, gaslighting you, insulting you, and straight up manipulating their audience to believe falsehoods about me. Not only that, but to then say that I leaked all of Toby's private information, like I doxed her or put her social security number out there for the world to see, is such a huge stretch. Then To go on and say that behind the scenes it's worse than what's public because we disagreed in DMs is just, it's a lot. That's when me and Kai noticed the thread and was like, what the fuck is happening? So Kai interjected in the thread stating, quote, "Hopeless Peaches, you don't know me personally. I barely know you. Don't lie to everyone like this." To which Peaches responded with, "If we have spoken multiple times in private and chatted over multiple topics, yes, I know you personally. Did I say we were joint at the hip? No. Stop picking and choosing what words mean. Please stop. It's upsetting." This is a problem because she is defining what knowing someone personally means for Kai and for me. If someone says, "Hey dude, you don't know me enough to claim that my apology isn't genuine or that I wasn't hurt by someone's actions," then maybe just listen? I don't know. Stop trying to leverage the fact that we spoke for a month to give credibility to your argument that is founded in falsehoods. Kai was even tempted to tweet this out, but I told him not to as to not escalate the situation on Twitter even further. The tweet he was planning on releasing said, "By the way, please don't believe Peaches when she says she knows us personally. I haven't known Peaches for even a month. We barely talked. I've never even called her before. I disassociated with her after all this happened and I'd like to keep it that way." Meaning, from the beginning, we did not agree with her claiming to know us enough to make false, misinformed claims like that on our behalf. In an attempt to de-escalate everything, I tried to be kind but stern in my approach to her. I went on to say, "Can you please stop claiming that you know Kai and I personally? We've talked a handful of times. I'd appreciate it if you stopped attempting to speak on my behalf. You don't know me personally." Peaches responded saying, "Oh, sorry, my bad. I guess I don't know you. Easy to mistake lots of banter and conversations as knowing you more personally than just VIA videos. I just personally think I made friends after a month of talking. Sorry."
Girl, what type of friend repeatedly speaks on my behalf even after I kindly ask you to stop? Anyways, chilly.
To which I responded, "I'm sorry, but you don't really know anything personal about me, so I don't think it's fair for you to say that you know me personally. You're fine. I'd just appreciate it if you stopped speaking on my behalf." I was doing my best to bite my tongue and just say that it's fine, it's okay, just please stop. But she wouldn't. She kept going, saying, "How is it on your behalf? I said a personal opinion from my perspective based on knowing you for a month. Unless I'm supposed to pretend I barely know you unless I say good things, as Kai puts it. It's upsetting, honestly." I go on to say, "Peaches, you can't claim to know me personally and then say that Toby never heard Omnia and Kai to the point where they leaked all her private info, which I never did anything of the sort. You can't claim to know me personally and then say that no apology has been genuine." Peaches didn't like this because she responded with, "Omnia, I won't go off on a comment section fighting you all day. Instead, I'll just leave it at this. Yeah, I don't know anything too personal about you, but you know personal stuff about me. You knew personal stuff about Toby. You acted all nice and friendly with me and friendly with Toby until a disagreement happened. Then, suddenly it's, I barely know you. If you aren't an open person, sure, fine, that's okay. But if you don't want to be friends or friendly, don't accept to listen to people's personal stuff who clearly see you as something more than a stranger. You don't barely know me. You know me far more than I know you, which I usually don't care about in friendships as I accept all forms of openness. But if you can't accept that, then it feels more like a power disparity." I was getting a little exhausted at this point, so I simply responded with, "That's never what this conversation was about though. All I asked of you was to not speak on my behalf, that is all. I would appreciate it if you didn't speak on my behalf. Thanks." Again, Peaches didn't like this, so she said, "Just to help you as you seem to be misunderstanding talking on X's behalf. Having my own personal opinion and presenting them as my own opinions is not talking on your behalf. That is saying what I have seen personally, a personal opinion. HO, or Harsh Opinions, says Kai is talking on your behalf due to him talking and presenting it as your opinion, not his. I am not doing that at all. Me knowing you doesn't mean I have to be silent. I am just choosing to now because I see it's pointless, seeming as you lied about even knowing me, the most trivial thing ever." Again, that's a yikes from me. I said, "I never stated you don't know me at all, nor did I lie about you ever even knowing me. I stated that despite the fact that we have talked a handful of times, you don't know me personally. When you say that no apology has been genuine, it appears as though you are stating a fact. When you say that Toby never hurt Omnia and Kai to the point where they leaked all her private info, it appears as though you are stating a fact. Claiming that you know me personally gives leverage to that argument. Someone below my comment even reiterated that Nani's video was not a good take, to which Peaches responded with a passive-aggressive, well, with how petty all this drama has been, my standards have lowered. Again, very rich of her to say that when, after this conversation was said and done, she went on to continue to subtweet about the situation, went on to comment under Just a Robot, Mega Comment, and Fuchsia Butter's video thanking them for making the video. You know, the one that called Kai racist and me a dense-skulled leech? Yeah, that one. She even went on to pivot her approach to the drama again. After Spockner made a video to which he states in his live chat, people assumed I was friends with Toby.
I wonder why anyone would assume that.
Despite myself and, I hope, Omnia knew how much I agreed with their videos. And she, of course, had to give her 2 cents in about how much she agreed with the Hotbox when he reported about Toby's lover-host situation on Twitch. There's just been so many mixed messages. Like, please just pick a stance and stick to it instead of changing yourself whenever it's convenient.
I hate to say it, but Omnia is still right about this. This is still happening. Now, obviously, these old-ass videos don't reflect all of my opinions today, obviously considering what's transpired in the future, but ironic you want to reference this drama so much when it's convenient for you and talk about how DMs shouldn't be leaked, when here you are in multiple instances leaking DMs. Here you are commenting on leaked DMs. Are DMs leaked only okay if they fall into Hopeless Peach's criteria of what makes them proper DM leaks? And side note, holy shit, I can't believe everyone got mad at us 3 years ago for being petty and mean on Twitter, when newsflash, Hopeless Peaches is exactly that. I've had so many people come at me for being condescending and emotional, when in reality that behavior is commonplace in this community and Hopeless Peaches is not foreign to it. But let's talk a little bit more about my biggest fan being my biggest fan. Kai, not very wise, what the fuck, made a video. I'm mentioned a lot apparently, cause I'm gorgeous of course. I'm gonna throw up. Oh my god. I'd appreciate it for my sake if people didn't play into Kai's hands by either using the drama to dismiss the abuse, using the abuse to dismiss the drama. Thank you. I find it so weird, disgusting, and deplorable that you even think that you have the credentials to go to your audience and tell them how they should react to me defending myself from abuse allegations, and then have the nerve to go, thank you, at the end of your tweet like you're the one I dated and you were the one in the courtroom. But I'm your biggest fan, right? I never tagged Hopeless Peaches. She was mentioned in the video briefly, and her mention had nothing to do with the bulk of my defense against Omnia at all. How can you confidently claim that people are playing into my hands when you don't even know what happened, nor were you an active member in my court case? That's extremely invasive and a wild public breach of my personal boundaries. What a freak. Omni and I create videos on our personal matter, and here is superfan Hopeless Peaches giving her 2 cents on it again. I see Omni and Kai are at each other again. Throughout all of this, there have been provable lies, wish lists of stolen items containing things that were never owned, stalking socials, literally having screenshots of each other's deleted tweets and from minutes after posting, and overall stupidity that would have always fucked with a court case. Yeah, because Hopeless Peaches definitely knows what would fuck with a court case and what wouldn't. Jail fanfics, constant tweeting, etc. None of this should have been public. Saying, people want me to make private things public, is BS because you guys chose to make it public in the first place. So now you have a botched court hearing due to obsessive tweeting, which both will spin for their own favor. Nobody will know what happened in that house, but I know that from personal experience, the only 2 involved aren't trustworthy enough to tell you. Block and heal, for fuck's sake. But I know from personal experience, the only 2 involved aren't trustworthy enough to tell you. So you mean to tell me, Hopeless Peaches, who was not in the house or the courtroom at all, is somehow qualified to tell their audience based on their experience, despite our situation and relationship having nothing to do with them at all, to tell everyone that neither party is trustworthy enough to tell you what happened? And Hopeless Peaches is? Fuck off. This gives the same energy of when you invalidated our apologies back in the Toby drama because you knew us personally when you didn't. Almost like you should take your advice for yourself, Peaches, but here you are to this day complaining about a drama that you went through 3 years ago that you yourself said that everyone was in the wrong in and should move on from, yet here you are planning to make another video on the matter that absolutely no one asked for because you're miserable and bitter. But even despite that, who gave Hopeless Peaches the endless and constant reign to update her audience on my personal life? Who are you to dictate if our court hearing was botched or not? Were you in the courtroom, Peaches? Jesus Christ. What's worse is that you wouldn't know any of this if you didn't constantly check my Twitter profile to keep up with what was happening, which is hilarious coming from the person you claim is your biggest fan. But I'm not trustworthy enough to tell people what's happening in my case. I'm the person you're literally getting the information about the case from. Just shut the fuck up about our case if you don't know anything about it, maybe? Jesus. But this isn't even the worst of it. You really want to see some fan behavior? Try a huge drunken tweet thread responding to me defending myself against criminal allegations on video again, where Peaches undermines my situation and treats it as a joke and essentially makes it about herself because she was briefly mentioned in it. But once you're confronted about it, all of a sudden you're quiet and I'm itching to talk about you again. You know who someone who's itching to talk about me does? Muddies up the water of my personal matters and posts a tweet of mine out of context for reasons, I guess. But I already grilled you for this in my video on oranges. Here's the clip.
Read the screenshot, bro. Omnia is right. Peaches absolutely did bring it up unprompted because I was talking to Lio. I was critiquing her for her weird-ass live tweet thread and random tweet that she made after I defended myself against abuse allegations, which, by the way, isn't entertainment. And I have the right to do so. And Peaches is objectively wrong for doing that shit.
And Hopeless Peaches, since your stupid ass is so fucking confused as to why I said it's not senseless to not believe all victims. What matters is nuance, not photos. A man could kill someone, but what matters is what he went through to get to the point that he did. That's what should be judged. These people are just sheep and want to be on the winning side. What I mean by that is if somebody is literally physically harming me and I hit them, bro, what matters is how I got to the point that I hit them. You can't just say, oh, you hit this person? Fuck you. No. Why did you hit this person? This is literally a detail that happens in court cases all the time, stupid ass. This is why we went to court, Peaches. Are you serious? Why did anyone allow this tweet to get as popular as it did? This is why we are in court. This stupid ass bitch made this tweet thinking that they were making a great point. I genuinely didn't think I'd tweet about this guy again, but I saw this and needed to immortalize it. This man admitted to hitting his partner, by the way. You don't care about the context. None of these people care about the context of my situation. Y'all just look at it like it's fucking entertainment. And judging from Peach's tweet thread that I just posted and put the slideshow through, Peaches didn't give a fuck. They were just using this as just some entertainment for themselves. This is why Omnia doesn't fucking like Hopeless Peaches, and this is why I don't like Hopeless Peaches' dumbass, because they do this shit and they get away with it. They talk about people's trauma despite bitching and moaning on their Twitter profile about their own trauma, but they talk about everybody else's trauma and everybody else's personal life like it's some entertainment to them. Fuck this bitch, and if you're mad at me for saying fuck Peaches, I don't give a fuck. Fuck this bitch. I don't want to hear no bullshit of y'all niggas telling me, oh, well, don't make the case public if you don't want people to comment on it. For one, I wasn't the person who made the case public. The person who started off this entire thread with all of these accusations was Omnia. And regardless of whether or not it's public, that doesn't make it okay. And if that's the case, if we shouldn't make trauma public, then don't give Omnia static for putting Peach's fucking grooming thumbnail or grooming art or whatever the fuck in her thumbnail on her video on her. Let's not fucking complain about that then, because if Peaches can do this shit to me, then why are we sitting here complaining about Omnia putting Peach's fucking grooming shit in a thumbnail or anything like that? Peaches made it public, so that means it's free reign to use. Why do we have this fucking weird ass double standard between Kai Weiss
Omnia and Hopeless Peaches. Y'all let Hopeless Peaches get away with all of this stupid bullshit, and then you get mad at both me and Omnia for critiquing her on it. Hopeless Peaches is not a damsel in fucking distress, bro. They do stupid shit. They do dumb shit, and this is an example of that. But you all, just because they went through some shit with Creepshow Art, you all treat her like she's some damsel in fucking distress. No, she's an idiot too. If you're gonna critique Omnia for doing stupid shit, Hopeless Peaches does that same stupid shit. Critique them on it too. Oh my God, bro. Like, y'all niggas really be pissing me off with this shit. It makes no goddamn sense. And another thing that Peaches said in the thread on me is, oh, Kai put the fact that he had a temper tantrum in the video. Bitch, am I not allowed to be upset about the fact that I was literally accused of domestic abuse, harassed by the art community, and then exiled before my case even fucking ended? And my ex-partner is lying about me and I can't be angry about that? Fuck y'all niggas, bro. On God. I swear to God, if any of you motherfuckers give me some static for insulting Peaches and calling this stupid bitch a stupid bitch, give Peaches that same energy when they're talking shit about me and Omnia. I'm done with this editing segment. If you're not including the people who spearhead all of the shit that Peaches is talking about, clearly I'm not talking about you. And that applies to all the shit in the video. If you take offense to anything that I'm saying in this video, then I'm probably talking about you. If you don't take offense to it, then obviously I'm not talking about you. If it doesn't apply to you, don't get offended. Thank you.
In the same tweet, they claim that they didn't say much past that, as if that makes the tweet that I called them out on okay, alongside the thread that they made about it. Omnia has every right to be upset about that, because it's not Peaches' situation to just be bringing up like that. And I would imagine that if Peaches is an abuse victim, she would know that. Peaches is a fucking weirdo, and you guys keep licking her boots for some reason. And please don't start bitching in my comment section about me not liking your beloved fruit. I don't like the bitch, they don't like me, and quite frankly, I could care less at this point about the Peaches drama. Use that energy to concern yourself with a real life problem. Everyone is mad because people were mean to Peaches 3 years ago, only for her to express that same level of aggression and insert herself into people's personal lives where she isn't welcome. I know this is a hard pill to swallow for y'all, but neither me or Omnia asked Peaches to read our tweets or look at our content, nor did we need her 2 cents on the situation. If you want to critique Omnia about saying something about Peaches, critique Peaches for constantly commenting on the situation publicly before it concluded. So much so that both parties who are in the case got annoyed with her. Then when they brought in static, Peaches gets irate and takes their umpteenth break on Twitter. If y'all don't see the issue in that, then you're just blind. And let's not forget about the fact I was going to press them about this in a live Discord call that wasn't in the Senate, because y'all just used that server to dogpile on whoever's stupid enough to subject themselves to that shit. But conveniently enough, they fell ill and we never got to it. Which I think is a fucking lie anyway, but Peaches will never admit to that. They got the community wrapped around their fingers, so I don't even bother. I'm sure this section of the video is going to ruffle some feathers on Twitter, and honestly, y'all already made me look bad enough, so I doubt you could do anything more to make me look any worse. Cancel a nigga, who cares? The bitch is a loser, and I couldn't care less if y'all get mad at me for saying that. No one told Peaches to make a video on Omnia after their whole tracing scandal and trauma comments came out. And if you ask me, instead of bitching about Omnia's video, you could have critiqued them for deleting their apology or some of the major accusations that came out toward me after this case ended. But again, y'all don't care about any of this. Half of the people watching don't even pay attention. We're just background noise. And to those that do, they just get outraged for the week and we move on to the next flavor villain of the month.
But it's completely okay for Hopeless Peaches to insert herself in my personal life at this level to y'all? Okay, here are even more examples of Peaches mentioning me with zero provocation. I don't even have to say anything to her, she just does it. I didn't ask Peaches to make that invasive ass tweet thread against me. She just did it because she wanted to. And who drunkenly responds to someone making a video in regards to their personal situation? This thread is still up, and before Peaches claims she wasn't drunk, here is you admitting to it. My defense is not fucking entertainment, Hopeless Peaches. I'm recounting a traumatic experience to avoid being harassed by people like you and your fans who think they know my situation and what I experience better than I fucking do, numbskull. My biggest fan, everyone. Omni is too. Neither party, despite not liking each other, definitely don't like you and really don't appreciate when you sit here and provide your commentary on what happened between us like we aren't both public figures who can fend for ourselves. That goes for all of you commentary YouTubers who love lurking my videos and streams because you have nothing better to do with your time. Peaches does this weird thing where she constantly revises history. I don't know if she does this because she's stupid, just has a terrible memory, or some other third thing, but either way, she keeps changing the story of what happened to her out of convenience to whoever she's talking to. Here's the most recent summary of the Hopeless Peaches drama by Peaches herself. From December 2020 to November 2021, I was in drama because I tried to die after finding out I was abused as a kid. A group of petty art commentary community friends decided to bait me into offing myself and made public drama about really minor, resolved conflicts from months to years prior. Two of them continued it, this is in reference to me and Omnia, until their own personal matters got in the way, though they still brought me up. It got to the point that I was compared to a rapist by them both if I even spoke about how the art commentary community affected me. To the point mocking how I was cheated on was a legit thing they did. No evidence of any of this whatsoever, it's just Hopeless Peaches flapping her chops for the sake of it. Peaches will never explain how anyone, and I quote, again, baited her into offing herself. Also, making public drama about minor resolved conflicts from months to years prior? Are you not the one revisiting this for another video? Hopeless Peaches suffers from main character syndrome so bad that even after people remove their videos, some of those even apologizing to her for their coverage, other creators apologizing and even leaving YouTube, and others getting canceled, somehow feel she still needs to speak about it despite already doing it once before. And if Omnia and I's qualms with you were so petty and Luke and Shannon were exiled, what more could you possibly want or need to say? Because judging from your summary, you don't even remember what happened to you and are changing the story just because. And people got mad at me for calling this person a sympathy seeker. That's all they do when they can't handle the heat of being online. It's insane how it seems that everyone has moved on from the situation and went on to another niche or live their life the way that they want to, even Toby, but you're bitter because no one else important but your kiss-ass audience cares enough to kiss your feet the way you want them to. And let's not ignore the fact that Hopeless Peaches words this as if everyone involved is doing the exact same thing as a unit. I would love to see the evidence where I mocked how she was cheated on, or how both me and Omnia compared their actions to rape. Was it not just my tweet? I completely see why I was so pissed back then, because Hopeless Peaches actively spreads misinformation and does fuck all research to actually substantiate any of her claims. This isn't the first time she's done this. Here's me getting pissed at her for doing it in a past video.
Earlier we talked about comments, and to start this section of the video, I would like to show you all a comment that Peaches made regarding the suicide baiting claim that Luke made. Yes, I was called racist. I was called transphobic. I was called that by others than just you, and have been dealing with that for a long time. Now instead, I have even worse allegations given to me by Luke and approved by Kai of me faking suicide and heavily implying the only reason being because I didn't do it. Peaches, if I didn't like you here, I really don't like you now. This comment was literally made weeks after your supposed apology to me and Omnia. And every time I read it, I get disgusted that you would even drag me into the idea of hoping you would die. I would never wish suicide on anyone, and it's absolutely deplorable of you to even put that evil onto me. I didn't approve of anything. Unless I explicitly say that I approve of that claim, I didn't do that at all. One problem that you and a lot of different commentators have regarding that drama is that you put so much of your eggs in the basket of implications that no one implied but you. That is telling of your character, not mine or anyone else's. I went back to see the comment I made on Luke's video regarding the suicide baiting claims, and this is what I said. I've slowly watched this devolve, and now it's just sad. For real, Peaches, you read this comment and instantly thought that I approved of claims that you suicide baited? Are you serious? This is the only comment I've made on that video, and since I detached myself from you in September, I have never once mentioned your name publicly at all in YouTube comments or Twitter, but one time in my response to Jar, to give validity that my Discord account is my official account. But you know who has mentioned my name? You, Peaches. But since you don't seem to get it, I'm going to make it abundantly clear. I don't think you're a suicide baiter. But what I do think you are is a sympathy seeker. You share things with your fan base that you should not be sharing at all and constantly use your mental health as a crutch for your bad behavior. After reading your apology, I genuinely wish the best for you and wanted to leave it alone. But now I'm disgusted that even after what seemed like a genuinely heartfelt and meaningful apology, you would make a claim like this over a quote in literally 2 words.
If you ask me, Peaches, I find it extremely disheartening that you're accusing me of saying that you're faking suicide, when that is a blatant lie. You've done this 2 times. You seem to have kept that out of your confession, which we'll go over later in this video, so keep that in mind. I was planning on talking about Luke and his comments in the video that I was going to release before this one, but since I can't even have the peace to do that, I will say this now. No. Luke should not have said that you suicide baited your audience. That was an extremely poor choice in wording, and though I support his sentiment that Jar's collab video on Omni and I was bad, he should not have said that. Luke has indeed made a lot of actions that are in need of critique, but again, just because I commented on his video does not mean I approve of everything he says. That should go for anyone with any video that they watch. If I went into every video and simply agreed with everything with no semblance of critical thought, that would be irrational. I know how to keep my personal critiques to myself and keep it moving. And if I feel like I want to voice them in a video, I will. I would imagine the same standard would be upheld for every commentary channel. I implore you, Peaches, share with everyone the specific instance I explicitly stated I supported Luke's claims of you suicide baiting, or when I said you faked your suicidal tendencies without any assumptions or self-concocted insinuations. If they're in our videos, show us. If you can't find them, don't make such a claim.
But hey, now the claim is I baited her into offing herself. So what's really the truth when Peaches opens her slimy mouth? It's crazy because one of the most popular videos on me also echoes the sentiment. Take it away, Spivey.
Multiple times and say shit like that. That is concerning. It is not outrageous. It is not out of this world to tell somebody to get help after that. Because the internet is not going to solve your suicidal ideations. It's not. So, get help. Which was the entire point I was making in this video. Telling Peaches to fucking get help. Get help for your issue.
I'm not going to doubt that you deal with mental problems. I never will. But this is a pattern. And messages like this make people extremely concerned for you. If you're going to say something like this, even back then, you need to realize that there is a problem and seek professional help.
Seek professional help. Was it really out of this world for me to see somebody who is being actively suicidal on their platform and then say, hey, seek help? Is that not exactly what Peaches did after she put that tweet out on Twitter? She sought out help from Manga Common. Like,
online is perpetuating your depressive moods. Try to take the steps needed to detach yourself from it. Because even after you posted this on Tumblr, you went back to posting normally like you usually do, as if you didn't just put that blog out there. You also made a tweet thread on Twitter that you soon deleted.
Get back in the frame.
About how you relapsed into. Here is the tweet you made after you deleted it. And this is yet another sign that you need to get help. And I genuinely hope.
Oh my God, it's just me literally saying, and I literally said, I'm saying this in the kindest way possible. Please get help. Oh my God! How did this become a problem?
You do.
So Kai does present Luke's points as if they are purely from Luke's own point of view, and the line of
What did I do wrong? What the fuck? How could you possibly make this negative? How could you possibly make this negative? How? I need to know.
kind of logic that led Luke to his conclusions without directly stating his own stance on them, at least when it comes to these baiting claim. He also doesn't challenge the claim or take notice of how dangerous of a statement it is, but
Because that's not my claim that I made, dumbass! I didn't make the claim, Spivey! It wasn't a claim that Kai Weiss made out of Kai Weiss's mouth!
Turns out that not even this is true either. Spivey claims that I didn't take notice about how dangerous the suicide baiting claim is, despite me addressing it in the very same video that she's criticizing.
I didn't say it! So why should I point out how bad something is from Luke's perspective when all I was trying to do in that section of this is why you should have talked to me before you put this shit video out. This is why you should have contacted me. Because if you had contacted me, you would have known my intention for even talking about Luke in that section of the video. That's fucking crazy. It is not my responsibility to tell Luke, a grown-ass man, how he should maneuver making his content. That's fucking, like, why is that expected of me? Like, why do you feel the need to say that? What was the point?
I'll at least say, for that part, he's not making direct statements on his agreements, even though he will express a very similar sentiment in just a minute, but we'll get there. Kai does, however, very clearly agree with Luke and support his claims and his interpretation of this comment of Peaches, calling her actions disgusting.
I don't think that's crazy. How is that crazy? And, like, just as you can come to the conclusion that Hopeless Peaches isn't saying what Hopeless Peaches is saying, obviously because you're biased toward her, people who are not biased toward Hopeless Peaches are going to look at that differently. Is that a difficult concept to understand, Spivey? Like, that's fucking crazy.
And berating her for it. So here is the problem with all of that.
I was hardly berating her. I literally said it was disgusting because I found it disgusting. And I'm the one who, what? Uncharitable interpretations? Me? I get it. You were padding for time. You were padding for time in your shit video. You needed something to fill in the lines of the script. I get it.
The initial claim was that Peaches was a sewer slide baiter, claiming that this tweet where she is expressing game-ending thoughts was only used to garner sympathy and deflect from criticism, and used this whole thing to call Peaches manipulative. And the evidence he uses is that she came back to Twitter afterwards and tried to move on as if nothing happened. Very common behavior of those dealing with mental health issues, by the way. The only reason Peaches came back to Twitter afterwards is because
Is this common? Is it common for people with mental... Excuse me? What? Yeah, psychologist Spivey, everyone, right? A psychologist Spivey gives her expert take on what people with suicidal ideation do, right? It's top dog psychologist, PhD Spivey, right?
But she did not act on those game-ending thoughts because she was talked out of it. After Luke's video with that claim went live, people started repeating that same sentiment that she was manipulative for her actions, citing the exact same...
I would love to see examples of this. I would love to see if there were, like, comments of people actually parroting that same thing. Because, I don't think that Luke was implying that Peaches wanted to die. I really don't think that that was the case. I don't think that that was the case. And it's very, very possible for someone to read what Peaches said and come to that conclusion. I don't know why we're pretending that that's, like, not possible when it is. And to completely, dismiss the idea of the fact that there are people who weaponize their mental health. And I feel like Peaches is one of those people. I'm not saying that they were invalid here in this specific situation, but I 100% do believe that Peaches is the type of person to weaponize their mental health. And I feel like they do it to this day, weaponize the shit out of their mental health. But to completely dismiss the idea that someone could possibly be manipulative in regards to their suicidal ideation, I think that even then that's ableist. I think that if somebody came to that conclusion, would I agree with it? No. But would I think it's a crazy conclusion to come to? No. I think that there's still a very strong possibility, especially if you're a public figure, for someone to come to the conclusion that you're not being that genuine, especially if they know you to not be genuine in other aspects of your life. I don't think that that's that crazy.
That Luke did. So Peaches takes a look at all of this and says, wow, so I didn't go through with my self-harming thoughts, and now I am being called a manipulator who tried to deflect from criticism.
No, I think that's fucking crazy too, because that's not the only thing that people were going over in regards to their coverage of Peaches. They're calling you a liar for other reasons. Now, do I think that Peaches is a suicide baiter? Hell no. I never thought that. And I've never thought that from the beginning of this entire drama, ever. And I hate that how hard Spivey tries to pull the narrative. You did think that. Like, no, you can't speak for me. That's fucking crazy that you're even attempting to try to. I think it's disgusting and deplorable as hell to even try and push this narrative that somebody was implying, low-key, giving the sentiment. We can never outright say that Kai Wai said it, because I never fucking said it. But the sentiment that he did it. That's fucking, like, what sense does that make?
Seems if I had just gone through with my initial plans that night, nobody would be able to say this, which is exactly the sentiment that she is expressing in this comment.
And it's not out of this world, Spy V, for people to perceive it differently. Especially people who she's talking about. Let's put you in the shoes of Luke. Would you have had so much courtesy if you were in Luke's position to look at this statement and not think that she was implying that you wanted her to die? Oh my god.
Never says that Luke wanted her to die or wanted her to hurt herself. She is, unfortunately...
I think it's so... And here's what else I think is crazy. Is that you say, well, Hopeless Peaches never outright said it. Okay, so if you're willing to give Hopeless Peaches the sentiment of, oh, well, she never outright said that Luke wanted her to die, then why are you on my ass about, oh, well, you never outright said it, but you gave the sentiment that she was a suicide baiter? So hold her to the same fucking standard, dumbass. What?
Damn, it really is weird getting mad at Peaches over something she never said, right? So why did you spend so much of this video trying to claim that I said something I never did? Or is that the sentiment? I swear, double standards run rampant in this community. But here's a solid example of the line of logic these idiots use when you confront them about what they say.
Oh my god, this entire thread. No, let me read this, because this shit was fucking crazy. Skritus tells me, not to mention, telling someone that they're a sympathy seeker is the exact same spirit as Luke saying Peaches suicide baited, which is not. That is not true at all. Both accusations claim that she had the crisis to avoid criticism and get attention. Or dumbass nigga Skritus, or can we entertain this reality really quick? Can we entertain this reality very fast? Maybe it means that she might have mental health issues, but she also uses those mental health issues to her advantage. Both of those things can be mutually exclusive. Ah! Holy shit, you niggas have no brains! Oh my god. Fucking Christ.
Is self-delete baited. Both accusations claim she just had the crisis to avoid criticism.
No it isn't. If I said she was a suicide baiter, I would have said so. And I never fucking said it, and you both know this. I never fucking said it. I literally said in my video, I think, me, as in a personal opinion, that she is a sympathy seeker. Not that she is one. That is my opinion! That's my opinion! I never stated it as fact. Same with this thumbnail mess. And to this day, it is my opinion that Hopeless Peaches is a fucking sympathy seeker. If people agree with that, that is their prerogative. If they disagree, that is their prerogative as well. No, can we not understand this very simple concept? I knew I was gonna fucking hate going through this video, bro. And see, and then Skritus is like, okay, so you think she nearly killed herself to get sympathy? Listen to yourself. Did I ever fucking say that? Ah! Where did I say that? Where at any point in this fucking video, in this fucking thread, did I say, I think Peaches nearly killed herself to get sympathy? Where did I say that? Oh my god. 122,000 views. 122,000 fucking views. I'm going to die.
So you hate waffles? I swear, talking to these people is literally impossible. They will only hear what they want to. You can't tell them anything else. Y'all will complain about me getting upset at points Peaches never made, then try and put words in my mouth that I never said. But it's only okay if Peaches and Spy V do it.
If you know how to read, you'll notice that Kai is responding to a point that Peaches did not make in her tweet. It seems he took this part of her tweets where she's saying that it was upsetting that nothing was...
Oh my god, that's this entire fucking video, you stupid... Oh my god. Holy shit. Oh, Kai is responding to a point that Peaches never made. Well, we're going to admit that Kai never outright said that Peaches was suicide baiting, but we're going to respond to a point that Kai never made in this entire fucking video. Oh my god, dude. You're literally harping on me this entire video for a point that I never fucking made. But when Peaches says something and I respond to a point that she apparently never fucking made or had the sentiment of making, it's a problem. It's rules for thee and not for me, for all you stupid niggas in this community. Constantly.
Anyways, here's another one of Peach's great summarizations about her drama. You can tell somebody has no remorse when they go crazy over a victim of their actions speaking out about it. I was forced by people to be quiet or compared to a rapist if I spoke about my pain until 2022, which then I had no time to process due to my ex. Not to mention how I was literally stalked and had an actual sexual harasser planned to be platformed or had 2 types of abuse mocked. Sounds like victim blaming and victim shaming to me. This tweet is so funny because there's someone under the tweet completely confused as to what she's referring to. And like, I agree, because what the hell is she talking about at this point? Is it Spoctor or me? Like, I have no idea. Like, they're referencing my tweet, but I don't even know what any of the other shit is about. It has nothing to do with me. I'm sure this is very intentional, by the way, but people just sort of run with it because no one wants to invalidate a person's experiences at all. But like, this is getting dumb. I've come to the realization that if another drama like mine happens in the art CC, it's kind of the community's fault. When mine happened, everyone thought bad friend was an acceptable reason to harass, deplatform, and gaslight a person. Not many thought it was too far. With everyone working on the level of, we must prove 100% that they're not a bad friend, instead of the obvious level of, this is deranged to cancel somebody over this, you already legitimized this type of drama. Mine wasn't the end, it was only the beginning. Well done. This is astronomically different than the other 2 times you summarize what happened in the drama, and it's crazy because people were not mad at you over something as stupid as being a bad friend. You were criticized for oversharing, speaking on the behalf of others, then getting mad when they set a boundary, and actively spreading misinformation about others under the guise that you know them personally when you don't. Here is you claiming I did something I never did again in my own video on you, but maybe you don't remember a specific thing you said here. Let me jog your memory.
After finding out that Peaches made this claim, I took to Twitter to say this. Hey, again, can you quit speaking on Omnia and I's behalf? Omnia never called you a bitch. I never said ever that you faked your suicidal tendencies. And if you ever wondered why we didn't accept your apologies, this is why. Please stop talking about us. I plan on talking about Luke in my next video and critiquing his actions on how he dealt with your drama and the comments he made. Just because I am associated with him and Shannon doesn't mean I agree with literally everything they've done. Maybe you are the one with the grudge. I want to affirm this as well. I have not talked to Peaches since I told her the first time to stop speaking on the behalf of Omnia and I. That was in September. The only time I ever made a major mention of Peaches was in my last video on her, and recently regarding Omnia's thumbnail, but we will get into that later. I did not care about nor give any energy to Peaches or this overall situation since then until I found out that she started lying about Omnia and I again. The focal point in my video that was in the works was Luke and Braxton. I was very much hoping that the last time I ever needed to talk about Peaches extensively would be in my last video on her. Peaches went on to respond to my Twitter post saying this. I'll be unpacking tweet by tweet because there are 3. I'll be putting all of my replies to what she's saying in the video as well while adding my thoughts. Dude, no offense, but the fact you literally are calling it out months later because you publicly stated I faked my suicidal thoughts parroting Luke and all have been jumping on the drama he started seems weirder than somebody being upset for being called a suicide baiter. Okay, again, I never publicly stated that you faked your suicidal thoughts, and even if I wanted to discuss the drama that Luke was in, what does that matter? My upset with you is that you are making a serious claim about me regarding suicide and backing it up with an even more baseless claim. I never parroted Luke's words. Ever. Lying on people about something as serious as suicide is inexcusable. It's deplorable, and I'm not going to let you put that evil on my name. Just because Luke has things that he needs to be critiqued on does not take away from your own wrong actions in the drama. Not only that, but I already told you in my first video that I never agreed with the claims that you were a suicide baiter. If you had issues with what he said, I'm quite surprised that it took you 3 months to see an issue. Can't you just accept nobody in this drama was in the right and move on? It didn't take take me 3 months to see an issue with what Luke said, as you can see from the clip from earlier, but since Luke is a grown man and responsible for his own decisions on his platform, and I have a life to live that causes me to stray away from my internet life, I can't make statements about my acquaintances at your nearest convenience. I shouldn't even have to, nor should I be the one to tell him where he messed up. I do not have to make that clear to you or anyone publicly. That is my choice to make. Do not assume my thoughts and feelings about the drama unless I publicly say so or directly tell you. I also have a very strong distaste of the idea that you feel the need to try and say that nobody was in the right. What you did to me and Omnia was indefensible, Peaches, and while you did apologize, the fact that these Discord messages exist after your initial apology is reason enough for me to talk about it again. People like Luke or Shannon making mistakes in how they handle their problems with you does not take away from the fact that with me and Omnia, you were the one who fucked up. Not me, not Omnia. I don't understand why you tell me to move on when you were the one who was caught talking smack. Neither I nor Omnia spoke about you privately or publicly until you started to talk about us again. You are the one who needs to move on, Peaches, because if you did, our names would be out of your mouth at this point. It's April. You tweeted this in February and have continuously talked about your drama publicly throughout Omnia and I's entire hiatus off the internet. Here is the amount of tweets and statements you made regarding your own drama. I understand that you want it to die, but with wanting it to die requires effort on your end too. You're fanning your own flame by talking about it as much as you do. And Lebra, please don't say I blocked you while I'm typing a response to you. This isn't what happened, Peaches. On January 29th, you blocked me and kept me blocked before you decided to make another apology to the people you've wronged, which, mind you, I wasn't included in. You blocked me again on February 3rd after calling you out, then blocked me once more after writing these tweets, which is why I couldn't see the 3 tweets you made for some time after you replied. You then finally unblocked me to make another statement about me regarding my altercations with Harley, and went on to block me once again more recently. But before I get into your second statement, let's talk about Harley. I have to say that this Twitter conversation was completely unnecessary given my original intention, but I digress. I want to do my best to communicate my own critiques to Harley. Harley entered this situation because the screenshots that I put out were Peach's words that she said on his Discord server. There's a lot to unpack here, so buckle up. I'll be putting all of my replies to his tweets in the screenshots too for complete transparency. Anything that is not shown in this video will be in the description. Harley starts by quoting me, saying this: "Really disappointing to see creators digging into my server for drama. Just drop it, Kai." I didn't dig into anything. These screenshots were brought to my attention by a third party, and if you have such a problem with them being out there, then maybe don't let Peaches say these things at all on your server. Your server is public, Harley. Why are you surprised that this is even out there? These aren't private DMs. Peaches said this on her own volition, and it just so happened to be in your server, which again is public. Not only that, but I've never talked about Peaches since my last video. I don't think it's fair for you to tell me to drop it when she's claiming I said she faked something as serious as suicide. I have the right to defend my name as well as Omnia's.
Oh, so everyone was in the wrong, right? Including you? So is there any reason why you continue to victimize yourself now? Just some food for thought. Funny thing is, you still go on about this drama years later, and here I am grilling you about it in the moment. Everyone should move on, right, Peaches? Seems like everyone has taken that advice but you. Ironic. What's even more ironic is this.
I'm fucking sorry. You know how stressful it is to hear over and over and over that people try to drag you down? When people just side with people calling you a suicide baiter? When those same people clickbait your grooming video? Kai, dude, lay off Harley. Okay, I'm going to just make it clear now. I understand Peaches is distraught here, but this is very dishonest. I'm assuming people is in reference to Omnia, and I'm going to refrain from talking about the clickbait comments since they already been addressed. But Peaches, I don't find it fair at all for you to tell me to lay off Harley, given that he was the one to quote tweet my initial call out in the first place. I don't understand why you have such a big issue with us talking if he came into my replies on his own volition. I will talk to you in DMs, not today, but tomorrow onward. If you want to straighten this out, but don't drag a kid into this for fuck's sake. I fucked up and you guys fucked up. At this point, will you just let me say sorry and actually leave me alone? It's been 3 months.
Yeah, Hopeless Peaches. This drama was one where, according to your words, everyone fucked up. So can you shut the hell up about it and leave everyone alone? It's been 3 years.
I had no interest in talking with you personally when I called you out. I simply just wanted to tell you to stop and leave it at that. Also, Peaches, we did let you say sorry in your very first apology to us. In case you forgot the reason why we didn't accept your apology the first time, I'll play you the clip again in my video on you where I explained what negated that first apology 4 months ago.
Earlier we talked about comments, and to start this section of the video, I would like to show you all a comment that Peaches made regarding the suicide baiting claim that Luke made. Yes, I was called racist. I was called transphobic. I was called that by others than just you, and have been dealing with that for a long time. Now instead, I have even worse allegations given to me by Luke and approved by Kai of me faking suicide and heavily implying the only reason being because I didn't do it. Peaches, if I didn't like you here, I really don't like you now. This comment was literally made weeks after your supposed apology to me and Omnia. And every time I read it, I get disgusted that you would even drag me into the idea of hoping you would die. I would never wish suicide on anyone. And it's absolutely deplorable of you to even put that evil onto me. I didn't approve of anything. Unless I explicitly say that I approve of that claim, I didn't do that at all. One problem that you and a lot of different commentators have regarding that drama is that you put so much of your eggs in the basket of implications that no one implied but you. That is telling of your character, not mine or anyone else's. I went back to see the comment I made on Luke's video regarding the suicide baiting claims, and this is what I said. I've slowly watched this devolve, and now it's just sad. For real. Peaches, you read this comment and instantly thought that I approved of claims that you suicide baited? Are you serious? This is the only comment I've made on that video, and since I detached myself from you in September, I have never once mentioned your name publicly at all in YouTube comments or Twitter, but one time in my response to Jar, to give validity that my Discord account is my official account. But you know who has mentioned my name? You, Peaches. But since you don't seem to get it, I'm going to make it abundantly clear. I don't think you're a suicide baiter. But what I do think you are is a sympathy seeker. You share things with your fan base that you should not be sharing at all and constantly use your mental health as a crutch for your bad behavior. After reading your apology, I genuinely wish the best for you and wanted to leave it alone. But now I'm disgusted that even after what seemed like a genuinely heartfelt and meaningful apology, you would make a claim like this over a quote in literally 2 words.
As you can see, you apologized to both Omnia and I, but then publicly lied about me again, weeks after your initial apology. Also, the gag is, Peaches, again, I already denounced the claims that Luke made in this exact clip before you even started complaining about it some more on Twitter and spreading lies that I never called Luke out. This clip was 4 months ago in the peak of the drama. I told you, Peaches, 4 months ago, which you seem to be so bothered that I didn't do, that I never called you a suicide baiter, and nor did I support it. And your evidence of me doing so was not enough to even remotely make that claim. If you actually watched my video on you, you would see why Omnia and I did not accept your apology, and also that I already addressed the fact that you were called that by Luke, distancing myself from his claims. You were the one who started spreading the narrative around that I supported what Luke said, even despite my own words in my video. I was hoping that if you meant your apology to us, you wouldn't do this again, but you did, multiple times since your initial apology, which is why I'm even going over this altercation on Twitter, because it is yet another instance of you doing what we called you out for initially. I simply wanted to say my piece and leave it at that. I didn't need Harley's input. He replied to my initial tweet himself, dragging himself into it. You were right, Peaches. It had been 3 months, but within that 3 months, instead of us talking about you were talking about us. You couldn't leave us alone, and that is where my problem lies. I simply wanted you to stop speaking on our behalf, sullying our names publicly, much like you did during the Toby drama, and sullying my name especially with such heavy claims.
Isn't it crazy that here I am 3 years later repeating the same thing that I said 3 years ago because Hopeless Peaches just can't dare leave my name out of her slimy mouth unprovoked? Notice how many times within this drama I have constantly asked this person to leave me the fuck alone, but somehow they just can't stop chatting shit about me. I can't even deal with my own personal court case, defend myself on video, or do literally anything on my platform without Peaches giving her 2 cents about it. I could literally be beefing with somebody else, and here she is commentating. I was arguing with Harley, and here she is. I fight with Bored Oranges, and here she is. Dude, I literally posted a comment on this video by Malice and Macrons, and who was there in response to that comment? Peaches! And I was talking to Malice. Now that it's been 3 years, can y'all finally believe me when I say this weirdo is a fucking weirdo? Am I finally valid now? Because when I uploaded this video, everyone did their best to try and discredit it. So now that we're all grown up, can we stop being stupid about it?
I'm fairly sure everyone has been heated about each other. Fuck man, I'm surprised I haven't snapped sooner considering. I apologize for being heated about you and your videos on me, and I'm sure one day you'll be sorry about clickbaiting my trauma, but on Twitter, not the time. Like I said before, my upset with you here is your comments on Discord. I'm glad to hear you apologize, but once again, you went back on that apology by talking about me on Discord again, as well as going back on your word, which I'll go over in a moment. It's completely okay for you to be upset by the videos that exist on you, but at the same time, that upset should not make you lie about something as serious as suicide and put that claim on me with no evidence or proof that is what I did. Peaches, you talk a lot about how Shannon and Luke were wrong for making claims about you with no evidence, but here you are doing the exact same thing with me. But now I'd like to talk about your initial apology on February 3rd. Like I said, on February 3rd, you initialed an official apology in a TwitLonger. I'll be putting the full apology on the screen for full context, so pause to read. You also read this apology at the beginning of your recent response. Nowhere in this apology did you say anything about accusing me of saying that you faked your suicidal tendencies, which was my problem in the first place. You also apologized to Omnia, reiterating your first apology to the both of us. I have no real issues with this apology, but I did have some regarding your confession TwitLonger, which came a day later, on February 4th. I'll also be showing this on the screen. Pause to read. There are a few things I have an issue with. Not so much about the nature of the TwitLonger itself, more so about the self-deprecating things Peaches had to say about herself. I want to establish this now while I'm here. I don't like Peaches. I don't like the things she said about me, as well as the misinformation and lies that she spreads about me. And while there are pieces in this document that are true regarding her actions, I still want Peaches to take care of her mental health, and nor do I want her to take her life. The specific truth of this document is this excerpt, and I do not think that just because Peaches was distraught in writing it, there wasn't truth to these words. I blocked Shannon, I told Toby she brushed me off, I got mad about Omnia using my grooming thumbnail and just blindly assumed the comments I received about her calling me a bitch were true, and I lied about Camila Cuevas. Another significant part of this TwitLonger is where she said this: "Please, I will never, ever talk about any of this again, any of you again. I just want to say sorry, and I want to be better, and I'm just so sorry." I decided to not put any video out after this TwitLonger and leave the situation alone entirely because of how Peaches reacted. She said sorry, and I was willing to let it go. Same with Camila. As long as she stopped talking about the both of us and admitted fault, I didn't care. I went back to living my life and being on hiatus until Peaches decided to mention Omnia and I's names again on February 10th, where she tweeted out this. My initial problem with this tweet is the fact that this is only 7 days after your initial confession, where you respect my wishes and said that you would not talk about any of this or any of us again. This is you talking about us again and this drama again. And look, I couldn't care less if you wanted to talk about your drama again. It's the fact that you started talking about me again regarding some less than savory comments on your Curious Cat. My second issue with this tweet is the implication that those who sent these comments were in the name of Shannon, Omnia, Camila, and Kai. This is an extremely specific group of people for these comments to be for, especially considering that none of these screenshots that you provided mentioned me or any of the people you listed at all. How would you know that they were in the name of us if they don't directly mention us? I called you out for this in my own tweet too. Unfortunately, I could not archive this tweet much like before, but I do have the tweets you ended up deleting in reaction to it before you put a final tweet and ask out about it, which I will cover in a moment. I'm fucking done. The fact that I'm getting explicit rape, doxing, and death threats, and me saying this isn't helping helping who you're doing this for? Bruh, I have 20 messages from the same person/people. I know they're talking about the drama. Peaches, saying that people are doing this for the creators you mentioned creates a link to that Anon's bad behavior and those said creators. Even if it was about the drama, it's messed up to say that it came from anyone without any evidence, and it looks like you're placing blame on me, Omnia, Shannon, Camila, and whoever else you were referencing because someone decided to be an asshole. No one in this list told their audience to send you hate. Anything that the viewers do is all on them. The fact that people are acting like I'm the shitty person still, being all, yeah, no, I think it's bad, but it's sus she blames our fans, ooh woo. I can't. Honestly, fuck this. This is a subtweet to my call out. Thank you to those providing it to me once again. Yes, I do not condone the comments given to Peaches, but again, to put that evil on anyone's fans without any evidence to back up the claim is a little strange to me. I think it would have been better to just not mention us at all. And again, you already said you wouldn't be talking about us or the situation again. It's a little jarring to find out that you continue to do so a week after you said you wouldn't, with no indication that the confession no longer holds water. You also finally clarified yourself, saying this. I also want to clarify, no, I didn't blame Kai and Omnia and people for the hate I'm receiving. I got 20 plus messages with the person addressing the drama, and I was appeasing to their morals by stating Omnia, Kai, etc. wouldn't want that. I'm just upset that somehow, some way, that got taken as me blaming them. This is what I mean when this drama is just so overblown. I'm sorry I didn't word myself better, but you can just ask. Making a video on me again instead of realizing I'm not a monster is all I ask. Peaches, while I'm glad you clarified yourself, I not only asked you already to just stop mentioning my and Omnia's name, but the reason that your tweet got taken that way is because you mentioned us in the first place about hate comments that never mentioned us at all. I wanted to put another video out because this was the second time within that month I had to deal with you talking about me and Omnia publicly during our breaks after I asked you multiple times to stop. That was the second time I had to tell you to just leave me alone and stop talking about me and Omnia, but I still chose to just leave it alone for a few days until again, for a third time, I find out Peaches is back again spreading falsehoods about me once more on Discord. On February 18th, another week after this fiasco, Peaches had this to say about me. Yeah, he promoted the whole Peaches suicide baited, and he stood up for Omnia clickbaiting my trauma, and he went on a whole ass rant at me and twisted my words when I was distressed by death, dox, and rape threats, and it goes on. Again, Peaches, this is dishonest. I never promoted the suicide baiting claims Luke made, and I've already left Omnia and Spoctor to explain the clickbaiting comments. I didn't twist any of your words. They are right here in front of you. No one was holding a gun to your head and telling you to mention all those creators' names in that tweet. If you want to call out the hate you receive, call it out. But you even had your own fans telling you how bad of a move that was. Cause he and Omnia are friends with Prismate Luke and Creepshow Art. And Prismate Luke called me a suicide baiter cause I made a final tweet back in October. But before I did the deed, Manga Common called me. Before I get into anything, if people still don't believe this is Peaches, here's a tweet she made replying to Harley showing the fact that this is her alternate account. She only covered the name. Thank you to those who provided the screenshot to me. I really appreciate it. Also, again, like I said, Luke, Shannon, and I are not friends. We are simply acquaintances. Ever since my first video on you, I have explained that I do not stand by Luke's suicide baiting claims. And even despite your apologies, here you are doing the exact thing that I called you out for, speaking on my behalf. Also, Peaches, just because I leave a comment on a YouTube video or interact loosely with a creator does not mean that I am friends with them. You should know this better than anyone, given you had this to say when someone assumed your relationship with Sen. Quick, respond to my tweets if you want to be besties. I'm already pretty close with Saberspark with all my tweet grinding. Again, these Discord messages were on the 18th of February. This is actually the same day something incredibly traumatic happened to me, and I'm actually very disheartened by the idea that you had all of this to say about me on Discord, but also wanted to reach out to show your support despite doing this on one of your alts.
Wow, that's pretty strange. If you didn't catch the weird revisionist thing that Peaches seems to have a habit of doing in this clip, let me spell it out for you. Peaches receives a bunch of Curious Cat messages, which I'm pretty sure she wrote herself. I refuse to believe these are real. If you're mad at me for thinking that, I don't really care. That's not even the main issue. I'm 99% sure these are fabricated and honestly could have easily been ignored, but whatever, and later goes on to tweet about them. And despite none of the messages mentioning me or literally any creator at all, Peaches somehow attributes all of them to me, Omnia, and Shannon, saying a fan made these comments in the name of us, and then doubles down on their initial claim by saying, I said they wouldn't want that, which is not what you said initially, so what the fuck? Also, again, stop speaking on the behalf of people. Ignore the trolls, maybe? And then, even despite that, I go through the traumatic situation of Omnia leaving Mai and my brother out to die in a snowstorm, where Peaches DMs me to see if I'm okay and give condolences, only within that same day to revise history again on Discord and claim that I invalidated her suicidal tendencies. Or did I bait her into offing herself? I don't know. Giving mixed signals, Peaches. Here's her other recent summary of her drama, cause it seems to change a lot. It is I. And the drama I was in was essentially, I didn't keep friends with Shannon. Apologized for having to split to her. Later, found out I was abused as a kid. Tried to die. Shannon and her friends all called me a suicide baiter and treated it like a Me Too movement. I hate how it's not even inaccurate, as me not being their friend was treated as worse than literal abusers, groomers, zoos, and was covered with more vitriol than any of the other worst examples. It was found Shannon was a stalker, and others forms of abusers. And others forms of abusers? I wonder what she's referring to that way. Luke? Omnia? Thuman? Or me? Say it with your chest, Peaches. Make this baseless accusation so I can shut it down, please. Please do. And once again, Hopeless Peaches claims everyone called her something only Luke called her. First, it's supporting claims, then everyone calling her that, then going even more extreme to say they baited me into offing myself. And if we did that, Hopeless Peaches, you wouldn't be tweeting at all. You'd be dead. Also, to blame anyone for your suicidal tendencies and using your mental problems and attributing the reason you have issues to anyone else is toxic and manipulative as fuck. That is abusive. But what really gets me within this entire situation is Peach's newfound anger towards Spoctor in regards to his usage of her artwork in his thumbnail. I realize skimming, unless I'm dumb, you are. That Spoctor trim where he blamed me for being groomed / used it as proof I'm a bad person. So here, in a video with 270,000 views and an overwhelmingly positive reaction, Spoctor uses footage of me talking about being groomed while saying,
what I can gather, being intensely bad at relationship management and emotional management. I said this before, but you're absolutely broken as a person.
Did you forget that the overwhelmingly positive reaction was one that you contributed to, Peaches? Where was this energy back when Omnia and I called you out for the double standard in the past?
Start with Peaches' video on the situation and her section regarding Camila. There's something Peaches says here that's very significant, and no one would notice the disparity unless they looked back. Here's the clip in question.
Camila joined the drama by commenting on Luke's first video on me on December 2nd, and later supported by Shannon in her video on December 7th.
Notice how Peaches says that Camila joined the drama by commenting on Luke's video on the situation. Now watch how she introduces Omnia's portion of the video.
Omnia joined this drama by initially supporting Luke's video on December 2nd, and then making 2 videos on December 7th and December 15th.
So when Camila leaves a comment on a video, it's seen as nothing more than commenting, but when Omnia also leaves a comment on Luke's video, this is now seen as support. You also did this same thing with me and Omnia, where you went on to claim that we supported Luke's claims. You get on Camila's case for not providing evidence that she was bullied here,
detailing how back in February of 2018, I lied about her selling a collaboration we did without consent, and how I bullied her so much I pushed her into hospital. She would initially show only flimsy evidence of the proof of lying about selling the art, substantial evidence of me claiming I received no credit, and no evidence of her being bullied.
Yet you provide absolutely no proof 3 months ago and now that neither I nor Omnia ever supported Luke's claims of you faking suicide. I even denounced those same accusations in my own video on you, which we went over earlier in this video. Not only that, but you go on to show off Spoctor's video and his thumbnail in this exact same section, but directly after talking about Camila, you grill Omnia for her thumbnail and not changing it, when Spoctor used an asset from directly inside of that video for his thumbnail. thumbnail. You also go on to comment on Spoctor's recent video thanking him for his take, not ever once denouncing him for his thumbnail at all. Yet you give the excuse for Skritis and Omnia's portion of the video that he was pretending to be an awful person, which is why it wasn't malicious or bad for him to use it. So Skritis' reasoning is okay, Omnia's wasn't. Omnia's reasoning required both a twit longer and an entire section in your and Harley's videos, but Spoctor does the exact same thing, use your grooming video art and never change it, then he gets off scot-free? This is what Omnia and I mean by a double standard. The usage of your grooming art is only okay in some contexts, but not okay in others. And I want to make it clear, I completely understand that it's vent art, but if you're going to be like this, then simply just be straight up and say you don't want your art used on Omnia's video in specific. The water becomes less clear to those who view it if you throw mud in it, but I digress.
I guess now that Omnia is gone from the community, the last person you have to be upset at this is Spoctor, I guess. What's even worse about this clip is that that's not even what Spoctor is saying. Someone pointing out that you're bad at relationship management and emotional management, like you haven't been publicly shown to do those exact things, as well as calling you broken as a person, as if that's completely out of this world to surmise, is insane, because these are things you've complained about yourself. So now you're mad when someone calls it like it is. And look, I get it. Spoctor is going through his own fair share of mess right now, but that doesn't change the issues with what happened here exclusively. You can critique them both for two completely different reasons. What makes this even more ironic is that you did an entire twit longer claiming that Omnia's intentions with the thumbnail were the most malicious, which is crazy in of itself, because who are you or anyone to claim what someone else's intentions were? And all you did in regards to Spoctor's usage of it was just mention him. So now here you are 3 years later suddenly wanting to pull him in calls and shit about it when you had ample opportunity to do so 3 years ago. If someone is going to hold a grudge for this long, then they're just gonna have to hold that. If 2018 Peaches is not the same as 2023 Peaches, then I doubt the comparison can be made to 2020 and 2023 Spoctor. You made the choice to not turn it into an issue, and now you suddenly want to since he's under fire? Yeah, super genuine. Not only that, but Hopeless Peaches is so fucking bad at providing evidence at such a minute level that even in her own clip where she claims Spoctor used her grooming to claim that she was a bad person, Spoctor never even says that. So does that mean you think that people with poor relationship and emotional management as well as broken people are bad people, Peaches? Because that's what he called you. A broken person with bad relationship and emotional management. And remember, you commented on this video in support of it. So much so that I called you out for it 3 years ago. Worst part is that no one here ever mentioned your grooming anywhere. You can criticize all of these videos on you without attributing your grooming to them. But since you're so free to dictate what everyone should and shouldn't say and do about your assets and your vent art, then what's your excuse for all your tweets in regards to my case? What's your excuse to create all those responses to me? That's my trauma, Peaches. So if you can say and do whatever you want because the situation was made public, then don't complain about people using your art for thumbnails or videos for B-roll, especially if their usage has nothing to do with the story of your grooming. And you made the story public. Your rules don't only apply to other people, Peaches. They apply to you too. So when you post tweets like this that act like this was such a grand gesture of malice and bad faith, acting as if any of the people ever said once, please doubt Hopeless Peach's trauma because of this situation that's completely removed from it. You look super disingenuous because you have zero issue taking someone's trauma that they chose to make public, just like you did, and adding your 2 cents in commentary as if you were part of the situation at all yourself. But you know who shouldn't be believed at all in regards to my court matters and my relationship? Hopeless fucking Peaches. I am capable of saying everything I need to myself. I don't need your coverage, and neither did I ask for it. You're just so obsessed with keeping up with my own business instead of your own that you were the most egregious one commenting on it. I don't know if Hopeless Peaches does this because they strive off of conflict, but it's ultimately super annoying. I'm not going to speak on the experiences of other people. They can do that shit themselves. But when you refer to this drama, stop talking about me and leave me the hell alone. Here's you promising your audience that you're never going to talk about me again. And this statement holds just as much weight as Linlin's dumbass saying that they're done with me but making this many videos on me. And Peaches, just because you heard about something happening with me doesn't mean you instantly need to take to Twitter to provide your 2 cents. I definitely don't do that when you're stuck arguing with some random umpteenth nigga to grind your gears on Twitter. Also, obviously, things have changed. People have changed and moved on. Most of these commentators don't make content anymore. Most of them have taken their videos on Peaches down. I'm willing to wager pretty much all of them from the most significant creators are gone, and if they're still up, people have definitely moved on from it. They're not being actively watched. The world does not revolve around Hopeless Peaches and who they have a problem with. And after 3 years, I don't want to hear anything more about my thoughts on mental health or anything like that. And I definitely don't want them spoken out of Peaches' mouth. When I was in this drama, I had a living, breathing mother. Now I am 23. It has been 3 years and my mother is dead due to killing herself. You have no space to dictate my feelings, nor anyone's feelings on mental health at all over your stupid drama. Crazy how in 3 years people have to still tell you this. You don't know anyone personally. Stop conflating my actions with other people because you're too lazy and self-important to even go back and fact check what comes out of your mouth before you start running it. Instead of reminding people every other moment how you tried to die, maybe consider closing Twitter and going to therapy since you love speaking on mental health so much and blaming everyone else for why you aren't taking the steps needed to take care of yourself. Maybe if you took the time to accept and reconcile with the past, like those who were genuinely affected by your actions have chosen to do, you wouldn't cry to Twitter whenever you have an episode and actually consider some more healthy ways of dealing with this. And to those mad that I'm not being gentle, I'm done being gentle to this fuckwad and just calling shit like it is. Get help, bro. Move on and keep my name out of your mouth. You're a fucking gross person and I don't like you. Leave me the hell alone and stop talking about me. I've been trying so hard to just avoid making a video, but the level of lies and bullshit you spread is no different than when you did it during the drama you revised so heavily to treat yourself as some uwu victim. If you want to complain about everyone else, I don't care. Just leave me the fuck out of it and stop talking about my case too, weirdo. Stop butting your head into places that no one asked you to be at and then cry how the people who you are bothering are your fans. Must be why you approach them, right? Crazy how you have zero respect for others' boundaries but love to pretend like you do and get mad when people start talking about yours while you pretend they did in your fantasy land. Let me just wrap this up before I get even more annoyed. I hope you all can finally understand 3 years later that just because this person was done dirty by Creepshow Art and wants to be an online vigilante in almost everything they do, despite saying this in regards to me. If you're seriously arguing for killing Kai, get offline and seek therapy. Kai is an alleged abuser. That means he deserves punishment, not vigilante justice from people online with a power fantasy. He is done. Let him rot in the life that he's made for himself. Time to take your own advice, Hopeless Peaches. Get offline and seek therapy. Crazy how the life that I'm rotting in seems to be much better than yours, because I'm not sitting here ruminating over the past and getting irate over it for the umpteenth time on Twitter, or making my mental health anyone else's problem. All while I'm out of jail and got the conclusion I chose out of my case, all while having my side heard and supported and evidence put out on my own. Yet here you are, bothering with me. Guess you spoke too soon, dumbass. Maybe leave me the hell alone and mind your own business, and maybe you wouldn't look so dumb for tweeting this. Maybe you should get over your own power fantasy that you create by acting like you're doing anything to contribute to the justice of the online community when all you are is another self-important, glamorized drama channel. Hopefully 3 years is finally enough for everyone to realize this person isn't some damsel in fucking distress and does weird and fucked up shit that seems to constantly go under the radar. But that's it. I'm done. I just want some form of a recent call out to exist with this person. Please don't expect me to talk about this lame again. Like I said, I have a limit on how much content I can take in regards to stupid people before I get super annoyed. Thanks for watching. The next video will not be as agonizing as reading a Hopeless Peaches tweet. Bye.